back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, the nation has continued and continues to witness an unprecedented medical emergency. The second wave of COVID-19 brought with it an unmatched and unforgettable degree of trauma, but it also gave birth to a united Team India, a Team India that stood with each other and fought for each other. While the machinery coped with overwhelming COVID-19 cases, some superheroes came forward and took up the task to heal the nation. One such team was our very own team right here at NewsX. The NewsX Covid Task Force worked 24/7, attending to over 50 SOS calls and messages every single day with one single goal: save many as lives as possible. A team of young and budding journalists took the responsibility of healing India on their shoulders, and we are here to introduce their faces and what they did in order to achieve this brilliant effort. We're going to be introducing them. But before that, we will hear what others have to say. Let's listen in to some of the testimonials of family members who were able to save their loved ones because the NewsX Task Force was at their rescue. Have a look.
Thank you, Ojasvi and NewsX, for helping people at such a crucial time. You guys have done a really great job.
Chinapan, I'm from Bangalore, India, and I just want to let you all know that how helpful has been Ojasvi over the last 2-3 weeks. Whenever I give a call to her or I message her requesting for a ventilator, bed or oxygen, she's always there to support, and she has in fact helped so many of my friends or relatives to get a ventilator, a bed, and yeah, she's been doing amazing job, and I really appreciate what she's been doing. And please do take care of yourself, Ojasvi, and the society requires such a humble person like you, and please continue to do the same going forward as well.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Himani. I am a member of Abhyuday Foundation. During the second wave of coronavirus, Abhyuday collaborated with NewsX, and with the help of NewsX, we were able to mobilize resources. Abhyuday and NewsX have helped people successfully. Thank you, NewsX.
All right, well, the NewsX COVID Task Force has been brilliantly helping people out, taking into account what they needed. And you've heard the testimonials just now. I'm going to introduce them one by one. And obviously, I'm going to be having a discussion with them and taking questions to them as well. Ojasvi Chauhan is with us, Priyanka Sharma, Akansha Singh, Kavya Unial, Sushmita Sharma, Aparna Shandilya, and Ashish Dangwal are here with us to talk about what prompted them to make this sacrifice and ensure that people who needed their help at a time when nobody was in fact able to reach out to them is a thing which is obviously supposed to be hailed. We'll talk about this, starting with Ojasvi. Ojasvi, tell us about the experience you've had so far in dealing with so many people calling in for help. I have never seen an influx of so many SOS calls on social media, to myself as well and to my friends as well. It all got very overwhelming by the end of it. There was definitely some impact on people who are helping other people personally as well. How did you manage this? And, in hindsight, how do you rate this effort? Because from what we heard through those testimonials, you guys have done an incredible job.
Thank you. So it's very difficult to put the entire experience in words, as it was really emotional also for us at times, because we were in direct contact with the families of some patients. How all this started was, there was a time when the entire nation, and especially the national capital, things were really chaotic, and people, like everybody knew that things were bad, the situation was bad. So instead of creating panic and spreading that, we tried to come up with something that would actually practically help people. So we just had this idea that we want to directly help people, and we wanted to ensure that help reaches them. It just does not remain in social media posts or in some messages. NewsX was already amplifying needs, like requirements of people on TV, on social media, and we were even putting out leads for resources that we were getting from various means on TV and on social media. But that help is reaching them wasn't being ensured. So we wanted to like dedicate a team that would just work on this and would ensure that people are being helped and the situation could be impacted in a positive manner practically. So we just made this team where we worked out the system that we would divide people in batches of three people, and one person would track appeals from social media or whatever, like or from anywhere, and the other two people in that batch would work on those appeals being shared by the first person. So there were many like smaller teams of such three people working like on this model within the music task force. So this was the model that we were operating under, and that is how we were actually able to help a lot of people.
Ashish, what was the criteria of giving the most attention to a number of calls that you were getting? Obviously, there must have been some system of prioritizing that who needs help as urgently as they could.
We divided the team among ourselves that one person will, as Ojusvi has already mentioned, that one person will look after the appeals and other will look after the leads. So what we did was we basically collected all the appeals together, and then we prioritize according to the resources or the leads which we got from the different handles or Twitter handles or maybe the different social media accounts. And then according to those leads, we basically connected to the attendant of different patients and then basically send them those leads.
Okay, Kavya, tell us what was the most challenging part of this entire process? The entire, thing is, pretty challenging if you look at it from a person who's on the outside. But to you internally, what was the most challenging aspect of helping people out? And tell us about that one challenge which you thought was insurmountable, but your team, when they put their efforts together, were able, to get over it.
So, firstly, by even starting this work, I believe it was a positive challenge because my first to the second wave was of denial. I am a kind of a person who aimlessly likes scrolling through Instagram or any other app for that matter. But I wasn't able to do it because there were so many SOS appeals and there were so many people who were crying for help. And that just made me sort of anxious, and I was not able to use all those apps as I used to use them. But then I realized that if I am denying the reality, I'm just making peace with the mess that we are in right now. And that is when I decided to be a part of this task force. There were a number of challenges, I guess. The first one being that because there was an unprecedented demand for oxygen cylinders, there was an unprecedented demand for medicines, there was black marketing, there was hoarding, and we as a team have also found frauds, and we were able to spread this information as well to the social media handles that these are the people that you should be aware of, because unfortunately we also dealt with some of the fraudsters during our journey. So yes, black marketing and hoarding were the challenges that we faced, but we learned from it. We learned from our experiences. We were careful, but we always ensured that the leads that we are given to the attendants, they are verified, and that is how we went about with it.
Right. That is the proper way to go about it. And Akansha, in your opinion, which was the toughest part of this entire, second wave that we saw come by in the capital city? Obviously, at the onset of it, when you open social media, you would see SOS calls that you've never seen before. In your opinion and in your experience, which was the toughest part of dealing with the second wave as a task force?
Yes, so I would like to say that the toughest part was trying to find the verified lead, because whenever Ojaswidi or anybody would send us the appeals, the process was that two of us would look for leads and search for resources. So we would go to sites like Twitter and then Sprinkler, or you even use the intro bot, that is the COVID resource bot, and just search and type and look for leads and then make calls. And after 10 to 15 calls, one would click, and then we would send them to the person who was required the resources. So that was the toughest part. And if we were not able to find anything, then it would really hurt us. So still we would try again and again. And even after 2 to 3 hours, some lead would be working, and then we'll send them. So that way, that was the toughest part.
So, let me ask you this as well. How does it feel to save lives? It's not something that most of us get to feel or talk about.
Yes, it was really nice. Whenever Ojasvi would send us the screenshots of the people who used to message them, thank you, you people are doing such a wonderful job. So she would, trying to boost us, she would send us those screenshots and we would be like, yes, this lead worked. And whenever any lead would work, it would be like so satisfying. And even after at night, like midnight or any time, it would work, and then people would send the reply back saying that thank you so much, you people are doing God's work. So that would like boost us to maybe get up next day early and start working.
Right. Aparna, what has been the most satisfying part about helping others out?
So I would like to start when I first began this work. So I felt like I'm watching dystopia unfold in front of me. There was chaos, morbidity, and a feeling of helplessness. So yeah, it is kind of satisfying because most of the time we get leads and then we have to verify it and then we send it to the attendants. And when they reply with those messages that thank you so much, the patient has finally got bed or oxygen. So it is obviously very satisfying because now today we are helping others and maybe some other day I'll be helping my family too or someone will be helping my family too. So I cannot imagine what pain they are going through. And I have also lost my close ones during the COVID pandemic. So I can relate to them. So when they get beds or oxygen or whatsoever they are needing. So yeah, it kind of satisfies.
Sushmita, the second wave was very morbid, and the kind of calamity and the kind of tragedy that unfolded around us was obviously very difficult to watch. You're all kids, you're all very young. Did this take a toll on you guys personally? I'm going to ask this question to all of you, starting with Sushmita.
Yes, it did. Firstly, even I lost a family member. Like, no one had expected this pandemic to hit us hard this way. We have been affected in many ways. Like, people are dealing with anxiety, mental trauma, and even the health status. Like, more than half of the population are not healthy at this time. So, dealing with studies, family, and everything has been quite disturbing. Second wave was way more dangerous than the first one.
Priyanka, tell us about your experience, and did it have implications on your personal life? I mean, we all know somebody who's lost someone. Some of us have lost dear ones and near ones. And like I said, I'll reiterate, you guys are very, very young. Did it impact you personally?
It did. I think we don't realize the gravity of the situation until it hits home. And the second wave particularly affected our families, our friends, their families, our colleagues' families, and families around the world. For me personally, this was an experience that I can not forget. And it's also something that I don't want to remember. My mother got infected with COVID-19 when the cases in Delhi NCR were at its peak. The reports were taking 72 hours. Initially, we couldn't get a doctor because our consulting doctor himself tested positive for COVID. And when I was at my lowest, I thankfully connected with the right people and at the right time. Instead of when we were searching for hospitals, there were no hospitals, there were no doctors. And when I was in dire need of hospitalization, I got connected with a COVID warrior, with people who were helping other people, and we could arrange a home ICU with 24/7 nurse who could constantly monitor my mother's vitals, be it SpO2, temperature, every single thing would be monitored every 2 hours. We had Dr. Nitish, who heads ICU ward in a government hospital, and he was available on WhatsApp. From testing, meals, pharmacies, I got connected with superheroes who were available just on call. I just had to call them and tell them that I need help, and they would be there. Even in our office, the entire team was just a text away from putting out SOS calls to finding leads or just being there to talk, because
that time, even the patient's family is at a very vulnerable stage. For me, it was especially vulnerable because I had earlier lost my father, and this time my mother's life was in danger. So, while I'm talking, I get goosebumps. And in our office, I would especially like to thank Rishabh sir, who would guide me at every step of the way. He would ask me about my mom's status every single day, literally help me with every way possible. And after mom recovered, I used all of that experience, all of those leads to help other people. Suggest if, for example, if somebody was in need of an ICU bed, we would ask them that, if a home ICU option would work. So all of these experiences that I took from my experience, I could help the team and tell them that, if this is not available, let's give this option to the patient's family so that we can save lives. If there's no alternative for remdesivir, is there some other alternative? If ICU beds are not available, is there some other alternative? If ventilators are not available, can we arrange a portable ventilator so that somewhere, someone's life can be saved? So this was the entire mission of the entire team, just to save lives and help as many people as we could.
But Priyanka, also tell me before I go to the others, did you also get an inkling, an idea as to how badly the system failed when this happened?
I did, because even I was trying, I was on the other end of the spectrum. I was trying to arrange medicines, I was trying to arrange beds, I was trying to reach out to the doctor. And I feel that my mother could reach to the stage where she was in an ICU for a week was because the system couldn't help us. I couldn't just, when my mother fell sick, I just couldn't get her hospitalized. And I can't tell you how helpless I was for those 2 days because I couldn't reach out to the doctor that I was consulting. There were so many doctors that I was reaching out to just to say that, my mother's SpO2 level is dropping, please help me. So I think it is a failure of the entire system. And we all, as concerned citizens, need to come forward, come as a community and help everyone. If the system has failed, we need superheroes, and we need people like the people are in this team and in NewsX to come forward and help as many people as they can. This is the only way forward. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. I completely concur with you. And I like the way you have put the whole thing into perspective from a point of view as a sufferer and as somebody who was also on the other side trying to help people who were suffering as well. So you were able to get a better idea of how to, go in and around both the sides. Ojasvi, same question for you. How did this impact you personally? And did it expose the system to you, or the lack of it at a very early age?
Yes, it did. So I would like to, tell an incident that happened. So there was this person who needed to be hospitalized at 12 a.m. in the night, and we kind of connected him to a hospital in Delhi, and this person had to come from Modipuram to Delhi. And the hospital admitted him for that time, but then at 3 a.m. in the night, the hospital told them to go back, to leave the hospital, just because the patient's RT-PCR report was negative, but his oxygen levels were fluctuating and he wasn't well. But the hospital just on the basis of that RT-PCR report being negative, asked him to leave. So we, those people called us at 3 a.m. in the night, and we felt so helpless. We were like, what if something happens to this patient while going back home? We just thought what best we could do at that time. So I just collected all my files and I called that hospital. It's like a famous hospital of Delhi, and the person who was available on the other end, I just spoke to him. I was like, "Sir, please take them. What if something happens to them while going back? Like, how can you, send a patient back whose oxygen levels are not right?" So this went for 10 minutes, but then finally they agreed and they took the patient. But this was a system failure for me. A hospital is denying admission to a patient, while they had beds, but just because his RT-PCR report was negative, they were sending him back. which could have been a false negative.
All right. Ashish, frustration must have been a very common element of trying to help people. You try to do things for them, and at times you're not able to. How did you handle that? I'll get an answer from all of you to that
Uh,
particular question.
so basically, I wanted to share an incident. We got a SOS appeal at 9 a.m. and we were looking for the leads. We were verifying the different leads. The family was looking for the ICU bed, and at 9:30 a.m. we received from our daughter a text message that he's no more, and that was the first day. I got frustrated. I literally got into the depression, and I was like, I can't do this. But then Ojasvi texted me, dude, just don't sit around. We can save more people. Start working on other SOS appeals, and those were the words which motivates me the most. And I started working on the other basically SOS appeals, and I can say this proudly that we saved more than 10 plus people on that particular day. So yeah, these things don't get us, but don't got us, but yeah, we did our best to save people's life.
Akansha, how does luck also have some role to play when you're out there to help people?
Yes, so like Ashish was saying, the similar thing happened to me. So before joining the NewsX Task Force, I was part of the Global Youth Task Force as well. So over there, what happened, my number was shared and everybody, they would share in the WhatsApp groups. So one day at night, midnight, I received a call and it was like somebody was like crying and, asking for help. Do you have any bed, oxygen bed? And I was like, I'm just a student. I'm trying to help you. Okay, wait. And then after 10 to 15 minutes, I started looking for lead. And because at first I was kind of shocked that like they thought that I was working in a hospital or something like that, because they don't understand that we are just volunteers, right? And we are just trying to look for leads. But then I started crying because the way he was asking for the help, and it got me, really it got me. Then afterwards, after half an hour, I tried to find a lead and then share them on WhatsApp. And this continued. And like Ashish was saying that, when they write, the patient is no more, thank you for your help, like this also message comes. So that used to, like, for the whole 2 week when I used to work for the volunteering, I was really depressed. But then Ojasvi Didi used to tell me that, it's okay, you're trying your best, like that. So that would help me really.
Right, Sushmita, tell us about your experiences dealing with frustration of not being able to help anyone.
Yeah, like daily we get a lot of SOS appeals, and many times we're not able to fetch resources. And searching over the internet and Twitter, Instagram, calling people everywhere, and still when we're not able to help someone, it is really frustrating. We never know, like, yeah, and even once what had happened was we were helping someone, but he was no more. It felt bad. We were not able to help that person, and not being able to help someone, and coming to know that that person is is no more alive. It's like saddening, frustrating, and really very terrible.
All right, Aparna. The entire idea behind helping people is that, it gives you a sort of feeling of gratitude as well. You feel good about yourself as well. Apart from achieving that, in hordes, in loads through this experience with the NewsX Task Force, what other benefits did you personally feel that you have accomplished after helping so many people out?
So I'll start with when the calls increased by the end of the March, and it went on to increasing till April set in, and till now we are receiving so many SOS calls. So I couldn't shake the feeling that we were marching towards impending down. And like you asked, what benefits you think I have gained till now. So now I know I have so many verified leads of oxygen cylinders and ICU beds. I know how they function. I know how to verify it. And I go to government sites and I have a complete database of that. As much as we were maintaining the database for the NewsX team, I was also maintaining my personal database so that I can also help out people on personal level. so that when a friend comes to me for help, or my family members come to me for help, or anyone who knows me comes to me for help, I can help them out then and there. So yeah, that's one thing. I got to know about medicines. I got to know about remdesivir injection. I got to know about liposomal and amphotericin B. Like I got to know how they are used and what is the function. I got to know what ECMO machine and so many such things. I interacted with doctors as well to know the levels of CT scan, CT score and all. So yeah, I have got so many. I have got to know so many things about COVID and precautions and all that, so that I can guide people also. That is.
Okay. Kavya, tell us about the most frustrating experience you had while trying to help somebody, but later on, that frustration perhaps converted itself into some sort of a reward.
So, the first takeaway from this entire episode is that uncertainty has been the only certainty for us. There was a period back, I guess 2 weeks back, when none of the leads in Bangalore were working. We used to get various SOS appeals from Bangalore, and we were not able to find even oxygen cylinders or oxygen beds, leave alone the ICU beds and the ventilators. We had noted down an entire database for home ICUs for Bangalore, and unfortunately, none of them were working. And it felt bad because there were people who were finding beds since 8 to 9 days and were in a search for ventilator for an ICU, and we weren't able to provide them that. But I guess during that time we came up with some solutions. We used to see that if you're not able to provide them the ICU, or we could at least provide them with oxygen supplies, or we could provide them something which can work for a temporary basis for them. And slowly and gradually the situation in Bangalore has improved. Now our leads are working over there. But yes, 2 weeks back, I guess down south was a really bad period for all of us. We were not able to help people in Bangalore, and that kind of frustrated all of us a lot.
Priyanka, in your opinion, how has this experience changed you personally, and what is going to be the carry forward feeling for the future? Let's not forget, scientists are also talking about a third wave.
Yeah. I think one lesson that we can all take from this phase is that always be prepared. Right now, even as an individual, we can keep numbers available of where we can get oxygen cans, where we can get oxygen concentrators, leads of home ICUs. Even if you're not in an immediate need for it, you can always be prepared. Earlier, we did not have the numbers of testing and doctors and hospitals, oxygen concentrators. So all of these things, I think, at this point, it is very important to be prepared. Keep noting down all the leads that you come across, so that if not you, at least someone else can be benefited out of it. Keep noting down now that plasma is no longer, doctors are saying, are not relevant. Still keep noting down all the details, all the leads that you have, so that you have a repository of leads that you can go to whenever the need arises. And meanwhile, I think this experience has taught us the value of family, friends, community, your belongingness. I think this was a phase where everybody came together and everybody just realized their humane self. Earlier, everybody used to be busy in their own lives, and I think this is a phase that you can call up anyone and they'll be there for you. And I think this emotion that I'll be there for you, so many old friends of mine reached out when they got to know about my mother, and they were like, we got your back. So I think this, we got your back, and we are all in this together. I think this is the biggest takeaway from this experience. Like we said earlier, that the system has failed us, but what has got us together is us. So I think this is also the biggest takeaway, that, no matter what, we got each other.
Let's listen to some of the testimonials of the family members who were able to save their loved ones because the NewsX Task Force was at their rescue. Listen in.
This is me, Utresh from Chennai. I've been working with UA as a volunteer, and yesterday I had to post a SOS message on Twitter, and luckily, someone is trying to help some unknown person to save their lives, and when Ashish from NewsX contacted me regarding an update, like he has gotten lead on a bed. So we are really happy to save the person together. So this is what, like, when strangers come to for the common cause, we can make miracles. And NewsX is like keeping on supporting us from, though they're not from Chennai or they're not from around here, they are helping Yuva to find leads on beds and ambulances, and they're continuously providing a service. I really thank Ashish for contacting me. And yeah, please stay home, stay safe, wear mask, get vaccinated. Don't panic. We're all here to help you. Let's fight COVID together.
थैंक यू न्यूज़एक्स, आप काफ़ी लोगों की सहायता कर रहे हैं. कीप अप द गुड वर्क.
Hello everyone. So I posted an appeal a while back on Instagram on behalf of my friend. She had this urgent requirement of a bed with ventilator and she couldn't find it. So I tried and helped her. I posted this appeal and one of my friend Ojasvi took it to the NewsX team. And guess what? They provided them the bed with the ventilator on time. Thank you guys. You saved a life.
All right. Well, group of youngsters who have been helping people out. You've heard from them. You've heard the testimonials and how elated and glad these people were in terms of receiving this help. Ojasvi, once you have helped people out, there's this sense of gratitude. There is this sense of deep satisfaction that you feel from helping people out time and time again. Is this something that you are willing to do even when there is no COVID around?
Yes, and this is because of the messages that we received. People even told us that they won't forget us all their lives because even their relatives and close ones didn't help them at times. But we as a team were there for us. So this is what they've written to us, and I guess these messages, these are like all our trophies, and these are like trophies and certificates to us that we'll like to keep safe all our lives. So yes, always.
Okay, Ashish, tell us about your plans. Is this something which is an acquired taste? Is this something that gets to be a part of your life once you have done it, helping people out?
Absolutely. All those messages, all those friends I have made during this whole basically pandemic, the second wave. I wanted to share an incident with you. I was just looking for the leads on Instagram, and one of my friends shared those leads of the exact resource on the Instagram. So I asked him, did you verify these resources? And he said no. I was like, why? Like, please verify those resources and then put these things up into your social media accounts. And he said, why would I? It's government responsibility. I'm paying my taxes on time. I was like, no, dude, this is your social responsibility. You should do it even after this pandemic ends. So yeah, I have even got some new friends in Bangalore. They even said to me that please come to Bangalore and we will host you. So definitely, it's going to be with me for forever.
It's going to be with you forever, Akansha. Tell us about your experience and how it has shaped you as a person. Obviously, it will be correct to say that it's made all of you better people.
Yes, so I like to say that the appeals are coming in every time, and then we need to go and call people. And even if you would call the hospitals, firstly you would have to be like on hold for at least 5 minutes, and then when they pick up, they'll be like, no, we don't have beds. And this has happened so many times. And if you go to the government websites of the bed and check the bed status, you'll see ICU bed 000, and then sometimes even the phone numbers of the hospitals are not given, and it becomes really difficult and tiring. But one thing I've learned is that this has taught me to be patient and then work nicely and patiently in this crisis situation. So the crisis management, it was like a course for me. It was like a crisis management course. So if next time is there some problem and then they need volunteers, then I would like to help, surely.
Sushmita, this has been a course of sorts, like Akansha has said. Has it been a course for you as well in terms of learning how the system works? India is a peculiar country. We have our own diversity, we have our own complications and intricacies, and getting around the system can be very challenging for people, as young as yourself. So tell me, has this been a course or a crash course in learning how to get things done in India? There's a term that which is colloquially referred to on the streets as well, which is jugaadbazi, which people do to get things done in India. Is that something which can also be attributed in terms of helping people out, that you have to do it no matter what?
Yes, definitely. The effect of the pandemic has been highly heterogeneous, and there are no vacancies in the hospitals, no ICU beds available, no ventilators. Like it's so difficult to find resources, and government, even knowing that millions of people are getting infected, there's no proper facility, and also there is shortage of medicines. We also know that a new disease has come, black fungus, and the medicine is really very and there are many states where the death has been really high. So the government is has to take a shape, like they have to produce a lot amount of this medicines, and also the vaccination process. We know that it has been halted in many states. Like first they say that you have to get vaccinated, but right now there's no vaccine available. Like I was searching the slot since past 2 weeks, and till now I haven't got my appointment fixed. So yes, it has been really difficult, and we all have to come and support each other. This is the time, like when I realized that nothing else really matters than your health and the safety of your loved ones. We actually never know when is the last conversation with our loved ones. So it is the best, when we actually look after our people, ask how they are doing, and yeah, depression has also been highlighted in this pandemic. Like there are so many people who have been losing so many, like their loved ones, and anxiety has taken a new shape. So we have to come together as a team and help people, and also spread awareness. Yeah, I wanted to share my experience that I've come across people who are still not taking this pandemic seriously. They're like, it's just a mild flu. Humko kya hoga? We are very strong. But yes, let me tell you that we all have to take necessary precautions, and we have to take this
Okay, so
safety and stay safe.
Aparna, in your experience in helping people out, you have also become closer to the system and what's wrong with it. What would you like to change about it?
So yeah, when it comes to system, as you know, NewsX had posted one news about scarcity of oxygen at Gangaram Hospital. So yeah, that is the thing. I mean, I think there is a huge communication gap between the state government and the central government, which is why most of the states are suffering. So I don't know whether where it is lacking, and either the which government is lacking, whether it is state government or the central government. But who is suffering? The common people, the middle class people of the society are suffering. Also, the hoarding of injections or medicines, that is also yeah, for black marketing of injections or medicines. So it basically comes down to the common people or the middle class people who are suffering because of it. So one thing I would like to change is, I would like to I would like request the government to monitor it nicely, to monitor the injections, the oxygen supply, and everything, and whatsoever the needs are, just like in foods, transportation, plasma, or other stuffs as well. So yeah, that is one thing. I would like to share one experience. There was a time when, yes.
Go ahead, sure. Share your experience.
Yeah, so there was a time when I was not a part of this COVID task force. So in my class group, I got one requirement for a plasma donor. So the whole class of 160 people, we started searching for lead. But for the next 2 days, we kept on searching, but we finally didn't get any lead for that particular requirement. So that sort of helplessness gets a toll on your mind, takes toll on your mind, and that is something that pushed me to help people out, to come into this thing, to volunteer for the COVID task force. That is why I joined, because if I get into it, there are so many people from all over the country. They are helping people out. We are getting leads from all over the country. So that will help me in preparing a database. That will help me in helping more people around. So that's what.
Kavya, when you jump in and help people like this, it also gives you, or sort of, makes you introspect that what are the politicians doing if, citizens themselves have to jump in and help other citizens out. That gives you an idea as to how to fix the system. What is your idea? What do you think should be done in order to avoid such a circumstance in the future?
So the pandemic, in my opinion, has exposed the worst and the best sides of human behavior. On one hand, you had citizens who voluntarily jumped in to help each other, and India became a unit wherein all of us tried our best to be there for each other. Some of us worked while for verifying leads, some of us were there for each other. Just to support each other. A lot of us faced mental struggles during this point of time, and we were there for each other. But the question arises that the people that we are choosing for power, the people that we have to hold accountable, where were they? The second wave is not something which was unpredicted. There were parliamentary reports way back in November which stated that we need to build upon our oxygen supplies. We need to have oxygen plants in the country. We need to be prepared for the second wave. But what we did after the first wave, we started dismantling all the structure that we had created. Instead of building on it, we started dismantling it. And this is the reason when the second wave gripped the country, especially in Delhi, there were no leads for ICUs and ventilators when I started this work. Now, fortunately, I can find ventilators and ICUs so easily in Delhi. This is because, again, the structures have started coming up. There are voluntary organizations. The government has also taken steps to ensure that ICUs and ventilators are available. But I'm scared that once this kinds of mellows down, again, these structures will diminish. Third wave will hit the country, and again we can face a problem like this. It's time that we hold the people in power accountable. Instead of just criticizing them, it's time that we ask them tough questions. It is time that we need, if the government wants to take credit for the success of how they were able to dodge the first wave, apparently it has to be held accountable for the way that it completely mismanaged the second wave. The vaccination program was not planned. There is while the government is urging people to get vaccinated, I believe a lot of us over here are struggling to find slots to get vaccinated. Oxygen cylinders and oxygen supplies is something that has to be taken into account for. When you say that somebody died because of lack of oxygen, I don't think it's a COVID death. It's a death which is should be blamed on the government. It is a debt for which the person in power is accountable. It is a basic necessity. Oxygen beds, oxygen medicines, these are something which a government must provide. And these are not COVID debts. These are debts because of utter mismanagement. And this is something for which the politicians have to be held accountable. And I guess for the third wave, because the government has been stressing on the fact that a third wave is now inevitable. It's time that they start take concrete actions. It's time that instead of just having talks in air, we must sit down and chalk out a plan about how to go about things so that we don't face this unprecedented crisis again.
Absolutely. There should be an end to lip service by politicians. Priyanka, we were in this soup at a time when the health infrastructure in our country is very poor. And the crisis was pertaining to a health emergency. But at the same time, when you are helping other people out and when you're not able to, the frustration usually leads you to introspect as to what could have been done better by the powers that be. What were your thoughts when you made that assessment in your head? What could have been done better?
Absolutely. When I was at my lowest, I was thinking that who is who should be blamed for this situation?
Exactly.
And when I was there, I was struggling to find a single bed. I thought that if we prepared a 500 bed facility during the first wave, why don't we have a 1,000 bed facility at this time? Why don't we have a 2,000 bed facility at this time? Why haven't we ramped up all the facilities that we had during the first wave? We should have planned ahead. And this just made me feel that one, each individual, after the first wave kind of subsided, each individual became a little laxative that okay, chalta hai. And every individual on some level that okay, that laxity just came in. And be it an individual level from the government side, I think everybody just got lazy. And this experience taught us that no, just buckle up, wear a double mask, keep sanitizing, keep your resources ready, always be prepared. And this should also be an experience for the government that, we are talking about the third wave. So it's time to buckle up. All the resources that now, that all the efforts that are being made, these efforts should be ramped up so that we have enough vaccines. Instead of giving vaccines to other countries, we should make sure that we have enough vaccines for our own population. For example, I've got my first dose, I haven't got my second dose, but do we even have doses for the second doses? We don't. Where do we go after getting the first dose? We are not prepared. So we are talking about the third wave. What are the preparations for the third wave? There are conversations that the third wave is going to affect children. How are we going to protect our children? Are we prepared for that? Because even in India right now, Delhi NCR is much better. Bangalore is getting better. COVID-19 has reached rural areas. But are we prepared? Do we have enough facilities? Do we have enough infrastructure? Is the health infrastructure ready for the third wave? Because right now, all of us are struggling. All of us struggling on different levels. And I think after the third wave, another pandemic will be mental health, because all of us are frustrated. All of us are frustrated to find leads for our own families, to find leads for our friends, family, and everybody that we care about. We care about everybody in this country, and are we prepared? Are we prepared to even protect our own selves? Because there was a time when I felt that I'm helpless. And even when mom was recovering, I could feel that mental stress, because there were 2 days that I couldn't sleep. I could just, words like ivermectin, remdesivir were just going on in my mind. I was like,
Haunting you.
this experience will make me go crazy. And I think every single family in India is experiencing this. We should be better prepared for all the health emergencies ahead, be it physical, mental, all the health emergencies. And it's always better to be well prepared from the start. So instead of just that attitude that chalta hai, why don't we start preparing for the third wave, for the fourth wave? Because as we look ahead, the situation doesn't seem very happy going.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. What you said and what you enunciated makes absolute sense. Ojasvi, you've seen the lapses in the system up close because you volunteered to help people. You didn't ask. And when you volunteer, you're fighting against a lot of odds because officially you have no capacity to help anybody or to command or demand any resources from the government. So it makes it even tougher for individuals who are volunteering to help anybody out. But it does give you a lot of experience in a very short amount of time. And that experience is absolute gold when it comes to giving suggestions to the government. What would yours be?
So this experience also, kind of taught me that we really don't have to be in position to help people in our own capacity. But yes, since you asked that what could government have done better, so I would say for the upcoming wave that is being said is inevitable. Government can, put parameters, like have parameters in place that would auto trigger some measures that it can take. Like, for example, if there are a certain number of cases, like in a particular state, they can, implement a lockdown with X number of cases. They can implement a lockdown. Y number of cases can auto trigger the government to, have like stockpile medicines or essential supplies. So being more prepared than before, NewsX has been holding like such conversations a lot, like how can we prepare in a better way for the upcoming waves or any health emergencies for that matter. So yes, preparing better on individual levels also. as during the second wave, right before the second wave, people were also like everybody was going out. They had almost forgotten that we were in the middle of pandemic, and so yeah, preparing better and not taking things lightly as we did this time.
Absolutely. Ashish, do you think that the government should incentivize people like yourself and your team and the NewsX team who are helping people out? Because that, in a way, will create more volunteers like you, and that, in a way, will lift off some of the burden or some of the blame that the government has had to endure for the last few weeks.
So basically, I remember that there were many states who launched their own websites, own basically helpline numbers, but none of them were working. Many websites were showing that there are beds available in this hospital. When we called them, there was no response for that. Either they switched off their phones, either they said that there are no beds. Right. So why are you channelized your resources on that direction, which is not giving the results? Like Kavya said, there are many voluntary organizations, many people out there who jumped into this kind of initiative. And I really wanted to say this thing. Not everybody gets chance to serve the nation at the borders, but everyone gets chance to serve this nation by doing their bit towards the society for the betterment of the society. And this is something we can do, and this is something we are doing towards this cause. And I think government can help out us, like they can prepare a centralized, organize a centralized database. They can basically centralize all the data that this organization working on this particular state, this, and they can we can this type of organization, this type of task forces, they can work with the different bureaucratic offices or departments of government. So yeah, this can be done in a way that all the resources which were channelized can produce the right results.
Right, Akansha, a lot of people did not get the help that they deserved or that could have been given to them in time. Delhi is still very well equipped when it comes to medical apparatus, medical infrastructure. Let's not forget what happened in UP. Let's not forget what happened in Madhya Pradesh. Let's not forget what happened in Bihar. The main idea behind volunteering for help is to give it to those who can't receive it easily, who can't even ask for it easily. Rural India is in shambles because of COVID-19. They don't have smartphones to summon anybody's help. They don't have a smartphone to pick an appointment on the COVID app. So roundabout the question is the same. How can the system be more accessible to people who are looking for help so that they can find people like you?
Yes, so the thing is about village, right? So my friend, my classmate, she was, one day at night, she just messaged and started typing urgent, urgent, urgent. My Mossy, she needs the bed. Please try. And all of us in the group started trying. And since I was a part of the task force, I was able to find good leads and try to help her. But the problem was she was from a district in Ghaziabad, and I went to Ghaziabad sites, every hospital, tried every hospital from the official website. There was no bed. Then she had to go to other places near Ghaziabad and look for bed. And she told me after the next day, I called her up and she told me that they looked for at least 50 beds all over the Ghaziabad area and they couldn't find any, and she lost her Mossy. So the thing is, in villages, all of us, were very frankly saying that please try to call some doctors or maybe try this helpline, go to the hospital. And she was like, this is a village area. No doctor is trying to help us. I cannot have any contact with any doctors. And that was the moment where I felt like so helpless. I couldn't help her in any way. And it was really shattering. So in villages and rural areas, they have hit very badly. So for the next wave, the government should try and help the village people more. Because in city areas, we can find some leads and they can go and travel quickly. But from village, traveling from village to the main city area, it takes hours. So that's a very big issue.
Sure. Well, we only have 3 minutes left onto the program. I want to take concluding comments from Sushmita, Aparna, and Kavya because you haven't spoken. So quickly, tell me, starting with Sushmita, what is it about the system that you would like to change, in your opinion? Sushmita, starting with you.
Yeah, they should increase the availability of ICU beds, oxygen beds, and utilize the funds in a proper way. Reach out to the rural areas as well, because the appeals that we get are mostly from the ones who can use mobile, who have who can contact us through any kind of resources. But what about the village people? So they have to ensure a task force that runs in the village areas as well.
Okay. Kavya?
I guess there should be transparency and accountability. Show us where are the funds which are being given by us being utilized. Show us where you have spent the funds that you have collected over the years, and let there be accountability on your part. There should be transparency, and that is going to build trust for the government, and it is going to be better for them also in the long run. So that should be it.
All right. Aparna, we'll conclude with you.
Yeah, so as I said, the rural areas are now suffering more and more due to the COVID pandemic. In the urban areas, we still have like Twitter and Facebook and other channels through which people can send their SOS appeals. But again, in the rural areas, that facility is not at all available. People don't have smartphones. So what I would like to suggest government is to build up a COVID care center or a volunteer section for guiding the people of rural areas more about it, or also they should be need to make aware about it, because most of the people in rural areas are not aware. उनका वो चलता है वाला attitude ही आ जाता है वहाँ पे कि कोई बात नहीं हो जाएगा ठीक, तो आधे से ज़्यादा लोग aware नहीं है. And also I would like to raise one concern. Earlier, yesterday or day before yesterday, I read a news where due to fear of vaccine, 220 people jumped into Ganga because they were scared of vaccination. Because if they get vaccinated, they will die. That's what their perception was. So, which is why it is very much important to educate people first about COVID-related precautions and everything, about vaccination programs and everything.
You know, what I think is that we should have a separate ministry now to deal with the COVID crisis, and we should have a new set of bureaucrats, more empathetic and sympathetic bureaucrats who can take care of people who are suffering from COVID. It was very, very heartening and very, very enlightening and encouraging to speak to all of you. You have all done a great job. You've made NewsX proud, and you've made all your family members, your friends, everybody who knows you very, very proud by the good service that you have done, and by keeping your head on your shoulders and keeping a very, very sane mind while dealing with this tumultuous and emotional problem that has gripped our country once again for the second time. Thank you all for being here and sharing your valuable experiences.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.